Welcome. This is Joel with Body Science and DexaFit Seattle. Today, we are going to go over your VO2 max report. So what is VO2 max? First of all, it is the greatest measurement of your cardiovascular health and overall fitness. VO2 max is the maximal amount of oxygen that your body can breathe in, consume, and deliver to your working muscles during exercise. VO2 max is considered the best predicator of all-cause mortality. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go ahead and open up your app and bring up your VO2 max report. And you're going to see this little symbol here. As soon as you go to VO2 max that I've circled and drew a little arrow for you here, that little send symbol, I want you to click on that. And then you can either send a PDF of this report to your email, or you can use what's called the markup review so that you can see your report now. So go ahead and pause this video, do that, and then open up that report, and then we'll walk through this together. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on here, assuming that you've done that. All right, so here you will see your VO2 max score, right? And RAI is going to give you a target, but understand increasing your VO2 just a few points can often mean huge health benefits. You will also see how you compare to other people that are your age and gender as well. All right, so VO2 max can be a predictor for cardiovascular disease, and you're going to find two charts here, one for men and one for women. So looking at your score aligned with your age group will provide you an idea of your current risks. So now let's dive into your heart rate zones. So from your test, we have provided you with your heart rate zones, okay? So we use a 4-zone system: low, moderate, high, and peak. You will also see the range of calories you are burning in each of these zones per hour. And let's go over the different zones. All right, so the low zone. In the low zone, you are using your aerobic system, right? This means that you are easily able to provide your body with the energy it needs in this zone, primarily from fat, right? You will be using a very high percentage of fat as a fuel during activities in this zone. So benefits for working in this zone is basically increasing overall health and your recovery system. So the moderate zone. As intensity increases, your body moves into the moderate zone. Your heart and lungs are challenged more to meet the higher oxygen demands and convert fat to fuel. You can maintain this level of intensity for a long time, right? You think about this is like your marathon speed, okay? Exercise training in this zone will improve your aerobic fitness, in improving your body's ability to convert fat to fuel, and building more powerful mitochondria, which are your cell's power plant. Moving on to the high zone. At this intensity, your body is now heavily relying on the anaerobic energy system. You are utilizing a high percentage of calories from carbs, sugars, and your glycogen storage. You are starting to create and build an oxygen debt, and you cannot maintain this level for long periods of time. Benefits for working out in this zone is improving power and performance and endurance. And your peak zone. This is your highest level of intensity. You will only be able to maintain this level of intensity for very short times. Think of like sprinting. So benefits for working out in this zone include increasing VO2 max, improving overall health and recovery, and improving power as well. So your thresholds. So during the test, we are measuring the amount of oxygen your body brings in and the amount of CO2 you exhale. From this, we can tell what fuel source your body is utilizing. Now, we are always using a mix of the two, but generally at low intensities, we will be utilizing a very high percentage of fat as a fuel. And then as intensity increases, we start to need more and more of a faster fuel in the form of carbohydrates, sugars, and glycogen. And glycogen is just our body's stored sugars in muscle. So VT1 is your aerobic threshold, right? This is the point where you are close to a 50-50 split between using fats and carbohydrates as a fuel. So what this feels like, right? This is where your breathing starts to increase. If you can do the intensity while only nose breathing, right? Or you're just doing nasal breathing, you are likely just under your aerobic threshold. If you need to do some breathing every now and then through your mouth, you are likely crossing this threshold, this aerobic threshold. In case you're wondering, this is about where the low point of your zone 2 range is going to be. Now, the term zone 2 has been gaining in popularity, but this really is nothing new. This is just low intensity, steady state work. You should be able to have a conversation without needing to pause for air in this zone. All right, but I digress. As you cross VT1 threshold or your aerobic threshold, your body is going to continue to lean towards using more and more carbs, sugars, and glycogen to fuel your exercise until you can no longer turn fat to fuel at this pace. And this is where your VT2 or your anaerobic threshold is at, right? So this is the threshold where you basically stop using fat as a fuel altogether, and you are now relying on 100% carbs, sugars, and glycogen storage to fuel your activity. Lactate starts to accumulate more quickly, and your breathing starts to change again to a heavier breathing pattern. So looking at where these thresholds occur for you can be very valuable for your training and to measure progress in your cardio health and performance. So I would note where in what is part of what zone is my VT1 and which part of what zone is my VT2. And then one goal is to work on moving both your VT1 and your VT2 up, meaning you can put out the same or more power at a lower heart rate. So your heart rate primarily is, well, it tells you what the energy cost is of whatever you're doing at the time, right? How much energy it's taking your body to move in whatever form you are actively doing at the time. So a higher rate simply means you are expending more energy compared to lower heart rates. Now, the other part of the equation is how much power you are able to generate at that heart rate. And this speed and power output will be different depending on the type of exercise that you're doing. So you may want to track your heart rate across the different types of exercises that you do. All right, well, that wraps up your VO2max report. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you soon.